starting. All right.
Can we just not be muted? I don't like
All right, and go.
Fine. Cubed by MS Cole. I found myself lying in my backyard, but the grass felt too artificial. I looked at the sky, or what I thought was the sky, and found it to be too pixelated. I walked over to my pine tree and knocked on it. It sounds like metal. A bug lands on a branch of the pine tree. I take a close look at the bug, and it seems to be like a nano bug. I looked at my house, and it seems to be 2D, as if it was being displayed on a computer screen or something, which it seems like it was. Only the porch projected from the screen. I walked over to the porch and walked in, except all this looks exactly the same. I walked around and almost tripped over a bump in the rug. This was not there before. I lifted up the rug and found a metal trapdoor. Oh. I opened it and stepped down the ladder. Then I was to be greeted with a reddish lit tunnel with a door at the far end. I walked over to the door and found that the door was locked with a power lock that needed to be opened with a passcode. Since I thought I had nothing to do here, I turned around and found a journal and a pocket watch lying on the floor. The journal was empty, and the pocket watch was set to 12 a.m. and was ticking. On the backside of the pocket watch, it was engraved with the words 24 hours for 24 numbers 5, 3, 7, 8. I assumed that these are the first 4 numbers out of the 24 I need for the lock. I had decided to write them down in the journal with the date. I walked back outside and was greeted with a dead nanobug. It was turned over with a number on its bottom, 7. I only had 19 more numbers to go, but the pocket watch read 1 a.m. The clock was ticking faster. I wrote down the number. I looked for more. I had gotten into a rhythm. I found one in the sky, on the shed, on the window, on the trapdoor, which was not there before. One floating in the air and some in other places. I found all but one. I looked everywhere for it, but could not find it. I looked at the pocket watch. It read 12:01 a.m. and had stopped ticking. I was surprised I wasn't dead yet. I rushed down to the locked door and I realized I didn't know what order to enter in the passcode. I frantically flipped through the journal and then it hit me. It was the order that I found the numbers in. I entered in the 23 digits, but I didn't know the last one. Then I realized, why would a clock stop on 12:01? The last number had to be 1. I punched in the last digit. The door unlocked with a chunk. I walked through into a small room with the door on the other side. Then a voice chimed in. Oh god. He said, "Hello, test subject number 1." I have to do a British accent. No. Hello, test subject number 1243567. Yes, I'm sure you are wondering who the heck I am. Well, my name is Antagonist. Ironic, right? Well, I took over the world. Wow, I didn't think God, I don't think I've ever said something so cliche in my life. Anyways, I've sectioned the world off into cubes, which are the testing cubes. I have about 100,000 test subjects, and you are one of them.
This is 100
With these
million.
test subjects, we can test certain parts of the brain and see how the human brain reacts to different things.
That definitely says 100 million.
What? Oh, whoops.
Also, can I please be the antagonist?
Do I? I can't do a British accent.
I'll do the British accent.
Okay.
All right. Do you want me to start from the beginning?
Yes.
Hello, test sub. Wait, muting. All right.
No.
Hello, test subject number 124356887. Yes, I'm sure you're wondering who the heck I am. Well, my name is Antagonist. Ironic, right? Well, I took over the world. Wow. I don't think I've ever said something so cliche in my life. Anyways, I have sectioned the world off into cubes, which are the testing cubes. I have about 100 million test subjects, and you are now one of them.
It's not a British accent.
I know, I phase out. Leave me alone. With these test subjects, we can test certain parts of the brain and see how the human brain reacts to different things. When we get enough research, we can then use the test subjects' minds and use their processing power to build a new hierarchy system. Just minus humans. Your name was Sarah, but now it was test subject 1, 2, 4, 3, 5, 6, 8, 7. In addition, I bet you're wondering, well, where were the other 2,456,053 people? They're either dead or in the comfort chambers where they will sleep for 50 years without aging. They will be the next generation of testing. They will be the 2000s testers. And now, right now, you are the 1950s testers. I've talked enough. Time for the next one.
The voice antagonist seemed to have a British accent. Anyways, after that, the door opened in front of me.
Is this just a recreation of the portal?
Pretty much.
It's also a recreation of Divergent.
You have this antagonist with a ton of test subjects in the 1950s.
Shh, 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 shh.
You don't judge.
Reflex
Kate
test.
Johnson.
For this test,
No,
it
more
seemed
like
I was-
GLaDOS, but okay.
I was
No, I
one
know,
out.
but-
Actually, no, it's supposed to be Wheatley.
Oh,
Which
'cause
is-
he's British.
Hence the British accent.
I want original.
For this test, it seemed like I was out in the open, which I was not. Okie doke. I started to notice that this grass was not swaying. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed a large bird was coming towards me at an incredible speed. I was able to dodge out of the way quick enough to not be killed, but the bird disappeared. I examined where the bird had disappeared. The ground there was almost as if it was melting. Then a hole started to form and grow, and soon it was almost as big as a basketball. In the blink of an eye, the hole instantly took up the whole testing cube, but I had not yet fallen. There seemed to be lava below me or something. A branch appeared over my head, and I had started to fall. I was able to catch the branch before I fell too far down. The branch then broke, and I plummeted down to what I thought was my death, but was only a teleport to another area. I ended up in a small room with the door at the far end. I tried to get to the door, but a glass wall was in my way. I placed my hand on the wall to see if I could push it down, but instead, the wall started to turn into a grid that was red. It took me a while to realize that the grid was burning my hand with an unbearable amount of pain. I took my hand off and looked at it. No burns or cuts. I looked around to see if I could turn it off. I saw a button by the door that I had entered, and I tried to walk over to the button, but another grid again rose up from the ground. I almost ran right into it. I was still able to walk along the grids, but not past them. A new button appeared on my left along the grid. Again, I tried to get to it, and another grid appeared in front of me. I turned around to see if there was another button behind me, which there was, but a new grid appeared right as I turned around. A button oh God, this is confusing. A button appeared past the first grid. I couldn't get to it though. I thought maybe if I can run through fast enough, I could endure the pain. I ran through as fast as I could. That's repetitive. I could barely endure the pain, but I did. I pressed the button to see if it opened the door, but it didn't. It only made the pain stop. I walked over to the other side of the room and pressed the button by the door I came in. It made the grids come back, but they were turquoise this time. I walked through them, or at least tried to. I started to levitate as soon as I walked through. I floated to the ceiling, and a new button descended from the ceiling. I pressed it, and this time it opened the door, but it also turned off the grid holding me up. I fell down to the floor and was able to catch myself with my hands. I walked over to the door, and he chimed in again.
This test was to see how well your reflexes are. This tests the precentral gyrus, which forms the posterior border of the frontal lobe, and it tests the cerebellum and the brainstem. So far, you have fairly good reflexes, but could do better. Also, these grids will be appearing in other tests. The red one was the convulsion grid, the turquoise grid was the levitation grid. There will be a new one coming up later, though. Well, I guess it's time for another one. I know I lost my accent. I can't do it.
At that, I walked through the door into the next chamber. Social test. Fun. Oh, this is gonna have a lot of
Fun.
ear raping. Okay. I went through the door and into a forest. I walked over to a tree. This is basically Slenderland, by the way. I went through the door and walked into a forest. I walked over to a tree in front of me. There was a page on it that said, "Go find the man."
Oh, sorry about that. That was test subject number 789567's chamber. Hold on. Ah, here.
Wait, hold on.
Oh yeah, my bad. Ah, here. Just go back through the door you came, then come back.
So I did as he said. The chamber was the same but had people in it. The people looked kind of real but kind of fake. It's very hard to describe. It's just one of those feelings. I walked up to one of them. He will win, you will lose. There was no purpose of being here. It said. I'm still not quite sure what it is. They looked gender neutral. I remember this is where we started doing the ear raping thing. I got a little scared when that happened. I really don't know why. I already knew that this was a fake world. Anyways, I tried to figure out how to solve this chamber. I saw a button on the other side of the cube. I tried to walk over there, but there was another one of them walked out from behind a tree. He will win, you will lose. There was no purpose of being here. What? I got a little more antisocial, kind of. I almost felt like I was starting to become anti-human. I mean, I felt like a robot human mix. I don't even know what I'm saying.
I don't
I
even
don't
know what
either.
you're saying either.
I don't know what I'm saying either. I continue to walk over the button. I pressed the button and a convulsion grid started to descend slowly from the ceiling. A whole horde of them started towards me. He will win. You will lose. Stop trying. They chanted. I couldn't take it anymore. I ran. I ran as fast as I could to the other side of the cube. I turned around and ran at full speed towards the door to try and ram it down. The door flew down with a big bang. I ran into a brick wall. I blacked out. Is she okay? I don't know if she'll make it. I heard people around me talking, but I couldn't feel them or see them. I couldn't tell if they were them or if they were normal people. Take her to the coma wing. Okay, put her on ceiling though. Will do, they said. I regained my sight again, and I could see there were people, real people. I thought I was going to cry, however, then they started to fade away. We're losing her. No, no, no. I lost hope. I lost a purpose. I thought I was dying. Test complete. Oh, wait, who wants to do the voice? David should do this voice.
Test complete. Subject state healthy. Brain state distressed.
Ah! Why would they? I mean, never mind. It was only a test. Sure, just a test. Haha. You almost cost me another signal. I mean, emotional handler. The thing that can only handle so many emotions. Anyways, you did great. In addition, do you like the new narrator? I thought it might make things more professional. All it's gonna do is just tell you how you're doing. There are a couple bugs I have to work out though. This was a social test, designed to test the brainstem and the frontal lobe.
At that, the door opened and I walked through. Logic and speed limit test. Oh, this is the weird one. This test started. Oh wait, no, I have to do that. This test, I started out in an empty cube with all surfaces being white. I looked around. A button rose up from the middle of the cube. When I pressed the button, an elevator dinged over the left of the cube. When I was about to walk in the elevator, I looked up at the elevator floor indicator and noticed that the ceiling was a little odd. There was no ceiling. Okay. The ceiling abyss just kept going up forever. Anyways, I stepped inside the elevator and was greeted with two buttons. An infinity button and a safe button. I didn't trust that this safe button was really going to be safe, so I pressed the infinity button. The elevator went up at an extremely fast speed. It came to a sudden halt. The elevator door opened, and I looked down and almost fainted. I was at the top of the abyss, or what I thought was the top. I blinked and the door closed with a ding. The buttons were different. Now there was a safe down button and a safe up button. I chose the safe up button since I was already high enough. I thought I might as well keep doing what I'm doing. I thought maybe if I go high enough, I might be able to escape. The elevator went at the speed of light. It went so fast, the light coming from the ceiling lamp in the elevator couldn't reach my eyes. But soon enough, it came to a halt. When the door opened, the view was even worse.
Stop. Stop. What did the TV do at the beach?
Matt, how long is this?
Channel surf.
I think it's 37 pages.
Wait, no, it's
I'm so
17.
bored
What
right
did
now.
what did Colin say?
What did the TV do at the beach?
What TV? What beach?
What did the TV do at the beach?
Colin, what are you asking me?
Answer the question.
I don't know.
Channel surf.
Oh.
You stopped the recording just to do that?
No.
Okay.
Matt, how close are we to the end?
Oh, we've got a ways to go. You're buckled in, bud.
I'm so bored.
No, you're not. This is exciting.
I'm very intrigued.
Fine, I can read it in a more invigorating voice. Is that what you want?
Sure.
Okay. The elevator went at the speed of light. It went so fast, the light coming from the ceiling lamp, and the elevator couldn't even reach my eyes. But soon enough, it came to a halt when the door
Do
opened.
you want me to
Oh,
read
wait.
this?
The view
so
was even
bored.
worse. I hadn't stopped. Again, in the blink of an eye, the door shut and the buttons changed. This time they are life or death or life. As normal, I was going to pick the wrong choice. So I had pushed the only logical destination with this kind of thinking. Death. The elevator flew down at a speed faster than light. My molecules had started to rip apart. I could feel it, because that's how that works. I slowly dematerialized. I eventually rematerialized at the top of the abyss. I dropped down. I thought I was going to die, but I hadn't. I just kept going through the floor, through the core of the earth, through earth and through the sun. Then I started to shake uncontrollably, and then all of a sudden I teleported back to at the top of the abyss. Then I snapped back down to the bottom of the floor. I didn't know what happened. I felt different though.
Test complete. Subject state malnourished. Brain state insert.
No. Like I said, I'm still working out a couple of bugs.
So cringy.
Also, the shaking and snapping to places was just a small bug I have to work out in the physics handler. It's getting fairly old and should probably make a new one. This test was the logic and speed limit test. This test was designed to test out the frontal lobe and the cerebellum. The logic part you completely failed on, and the speed test was just to see how fast you could go without getting your molecules torn apart, and that you did fairly good on. One more thing about that malnourishment part. You'll get cake in the next chamber. Well,
Oh
on
my
to the next
God.
one.
This is
I
quite literally
know.
portal.
A door opened in front
I
of me.
want
As
cake.
always, I walked through.
Oh, I
want-
wonder what the cake. If there's actually gonna be cake.
I think there is. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think
They
there's
use
cake.
The code. The cake is a lie.
I walked forward,
Wait,
and
wait,
one more.
explain the ear rape. Why do you do the ear rape?
Because I had to keep saying it, like in the antisocial bit. It was repetitive, so I kept just I don't know. But since
That's
the
so
recording
many
got screwed up
words.
on the first one. So, anyways, I walked forward, and the more I walked forward, the floor had started to fade away. But when I walked back, the ground faded back. I continued to walk forward, but even though the ground had completely faded into a black void, I was still walking fine. This must be a simulation or something. There was a door in front of me, but there was no way he would just put a blatant door in the front of the room. He doesn't make things that easy. Oh, I walked through the door into the exact same room. I guess this time he does make things this easy sometimes. I walked forward, but only about halfway down the path I had started to walk vertically. David, shut up.
With some revisions, this could
nothing.
actually be done.
This is a New York bestseller. Nothing changed other than the fact that I was walking up about halfway up the vertical pathway. I started to walk right, then left, and about every other. What?
Another
It's
stupid joke.
just a New York bestseller?
What are you saying?
Is that a New York bestseller?
I don't know what you're
Man.
saying.
Huh?
Are you brushing your
I'm
teeth?
bored. Man, I'm bored.
I had completely
Sorry.
forgot about the 4D. After
I
all
had
the
a- I had
3D
a
directions, I
popsicle
walked
stick
in all
in
the
my
4D
mouth.
directions. Finally,
I
the door
said,
appeared
"It's
at the end.
just a
Again,
New
after
York
I went through the door, I
bestseller?
walked into the same room
It's
again. I
not a New
continued to
York
walk forward,
Times
but an
bestseller?
invisible wall stopped me. I had no idea where it stopped, started, or direction I went. I just tried to feel my way around what seemed to be a maze. It was very easy, except when I started to get to the end, it almost seemed like I was walking through a swamp or something. Finally, I arrived at the door. This time, when I walked in, the room was mirrored. A mirror slowly rose up from the ground. I walked forward to see what I would see. I was half expecting to see myself and
Matt.
half expecting to see something else. When I
Matt,
saw myself in the mirror, I was seeing my back. Then somehow I was tattered. Then I couldn't move. That my friends.
Matt,
What?
what kind of flower doesn't sleep at night?
I don't know.
The daisy.
Then somehow it shattered. I couldn't move, and something that my friends called the blue screen of death, or the crash screen of Windows 50, replaced my old view.
Ugh, I knew that ORP was gonna fail. Why did I not replace it? Also, I forgot to upgrade to Windows 51. Sometimes I just lose hope. Well, since the objective reality perception
There we
engine decided to bite the dust, I will have to
That's the
set
good
up
stuff.
the cube with normal reality for the last section. Luckily, that doesn't need the ORP engines you spell. Oh wait, never mind. Okay, hold on. Okay.
It was the exact same thing, but just everything completely normal. I walked forward and arrived at the door.
Test complete.
Test complete. Subject state heavily malnourished. Brain state classified.
Great job.
Australia.
I
What
forgot
the
about
heck?
that malnourishment part. I haven't baked the cake yet. I'll start making it when you're in the next chamber. You'll get it while
Yes,
you're
sir.
in intermission. which is a necessity since I need to build a new warp engine. I bet you're wondering, now why the heck would he need a normal reality test? The answer to your question
intermission.
was, since you have experienced other realities, we need to see if you can successfully return to
I think we're
normal
actually getting close to the
reality.
end. Don't worry, people. The first thing that I noticed was the warm feeling. It didn't feel like I was in a cold, hard world and that I had to live in cubes. It was a normal waiting room with light brown walls, bone chairs, and
Talk
tables with
normal.
lamps and magazines, elevated music, and a door at the far end. I sat down in one of the chairs and waited until he fixed the orb. I picked up a magazine, but that wasn't that interesting. So I thought a bazaar would be better.
No.
However, neither of those were good. So I just listened to some elevator music and waited. Then I noticed a Good Housekeeping magazine from my childhood. I did like this one, so I read it.
I think I finally got it installed. You could probably go on, but I need to make sure that it works properly. Okay? You ready? Here goes nothing. Nope, never mind. I guess you can't go on to the next one. I
Whoa.
think I may need to. Oh, wait. That might have been the life stringer.
Why is Antonio's
Oops.
song so good? Oh my god.
Okay, now this is what we are going to do. So you're going to die, but you won't die. Die. You'll just die. Yeah, that makes total sense. Sorry, but I hope you get what I mean.
I started to get tired and worry. I can't hold myself up.
Okay, so, you may be dying, but don't freak out. That'll only make it worse. So, you'll probably blow another stringer, and I can't afford another test subject, and you're dead. Great. Maybe if I just replace it, I can. Yeah, that'll work.
Do 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 do.
Okay, I think I got it. Now I just need to resurrect you. If I, maybe if. No. Okay, I think I got an idea. Just hang in there. Hey, George, can you resurrect another subject? No, what about Edward? Was he open? He was? Okay, send him to Alpha, Section 1A7E, Cubes 3A. Great, thanks, George.
Do 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 do. Oh, am I doing this one?
Yes.
Okay. Clear. I don't know why that was that. Test subject status alive. Heart rate 90 BPM.
Oh, thank Edward, you're the best. Man, can I just say that was a hassle to get these clumsy human hearts started?
No error, sir.
Edward, we've been over this already. It's no problem when humans are around, even if they're dead. Do it out of respect.
Sorry, sir.
It's okay, you tried.
My vision was a little blurry, but it got clear.
Okay. Yeah, you're awake! You can wait a little longer if you want to recoup, but the door was open of you if you wanted to go to the next one. Oh wait, I almost forgot. I'm so sorry. Here's your cake!
Okay, floated in front of me. I ate it. Went on to the next one. Two more.
Two
I'm going to
more.
rewrite this chapter under construction. I don't know what's taking so. Oh wait, that's you.
I don't know what's taking
Are
so
we done
long.
yet?
Almost.
No.
I heard a faint whisper with some
No.
white noise, almost as if someone's trying to talk to me over the transmitter. Okay, we're going to have to speak very quiet.
Dude.
I hacked the PA system. I'm one of the. I have to go. He's coming.
I'm not sure what that was. It seemed like a glitch. All of a sudden, the record stopped playing, and no, of course not. I'm sorry, sometimes I talk to myself. On to the next. Hold
Wait,
on.
hold on.
Before I forget, this wasn't supposed to test any part of the brain. It's just here to introduce the.
Just hang in there for 2 more cubes, then we'll talk.
That was weird. It happened again. Oh well, one more thing I'll have to fix.
I was drowning. I couldn't breathe. I was catching breath. I tried my best to rise out of the top of the cube. I was able to get to the top of the cube, and then I noticed that the cube was more of a rectangle. What? Then there was a light bulb dangling from the ceiling.
You just put
It
the
was
word
swinging. I
what?
wasn't sure why though. There wasn't a draft or anything. I just tried my best to tread water.
I noticed you've made some connections. Don't try to say that these connections are nothing, because they aren't. Nothing that you have talked about must be used or deployed. Stop it. You can't hide anything from me. This is your punishment. You're going to be here for a while. So I suggest you find a more efficient way of staying alive because a while is going to be, about 50 years. So get comfy.
I knew he had found out about the person trying to help me out of the test, and I said, well, there had to be a way to get out of this. Deep breath and went down. I noticed that there was a sewage-like tunnel leading out of the cave. I went back to the first surface to get a better breath. Then I went down fast. I needed to get through the tunnel as fast as I could, but then I thought of something. I was back up at the top. It dawned on me that what if the tunnel branched off into a series of tunnels? There was no way I could hold that much breath. Then I realized something. Again. The water level was lowering to just about the top of the tunnel. Then it instantly snapped up to the height it was before. Bubbles started popping out of the tunnel. Air was trapped in the top portion of the tunnel and was escaping. I needed to get down there fast as I could before all the air bubbled out. I dove as fast as I could to the tunnel. I entered it, and a giant door shut behind me, sealing me in. At first, I thought that was a bad thing, but then I realized that was good because no air could escape. I kept going through the tunnel until there was a fork. Just as I thought there would be, I was running out of air, so I took a breath from what was left at the top of the tunnel. As I did that, I noticed something. The air pocket at the top was slowly getting smaller. Then it hit me. There was another opening. I just had to find out where. Fast.
Him.
We're done, people.
That was so
That was the most boring thing I've ever
long.
read. I left in
No, it